Hello humans. Today I wanted to try 5 different knives that I own and see how well they baton. So today we have the Uncle Henry UH 181. We have this half Pulseforce Outdoors 4-inch knife. We have my SOG Blade Light. We have my Outdoor Edge swing blade, and finally we have the Hella Knives Sigmund. Why is that not stopping? Probably because it's bouncing. These are the knives that I have today. We are going to be going from largest down to, I think this one's the smallest. Let's get going. Alright, so up first today we have Uncle Henry. I have 5 pieces of wood. I'm going to be trying to quarter them. They are all roughly the same diameter. So immediately this hollow grind is actually not helping out tons. But it does dig in there a little bit, and then it gets very, very stuck. I'd almost have a better bet just straight up chopping. But let's see if I can get through this. Whew. Yeah, this is not handling this well at all. Yeah, so as you can see, once it reaches the top of that grind, there's such an aggressive shouldering, I actually can't get it to sink in past there. Let me see if I can do it the other way around. A little bit. Yeah, I'm having the exact same problems. And that's with me putting a fairly significant amount of force into this. It's just the geometry on this is so brutal that as soon as it sinks down into the past the grind, it just will not chop. And it's not like it's destroying the edge or anything. It's just absolutely refusing to go any further. Oh, there we go. This is actually, like, I'm not huge by any means, but I am absolutely swinging. Like, you can see the damage that I'm doing to this stick right here. Just trying to get it to go in, like, at all through this. It's not like this is naughty, particularly naughty wood. There's one big one that I can feel already. But, no, by and large, this is just being a brutal process. There we go. As long as the wood cracking. Yeah, this isn't going to get quartered. This is actually brutal. It's not uncomfortable. The contouring on the handle is quite nice, but it's just so aggressively not the right blade profile to be doing this. It's not bending though. I mean, it's a fucking 1/4 inch thick, but still. Come on. Jeepers. Huh. It's good and stuck in there now, at least. The other good thing is that the knife is actually long enough where I can hit both sides on the block of wood without having to smack the handle. So I'm not all too worried about damaging the synthetic handles that they've got. Golly gee. Come on. Just fucking split. And you can see, like, I'm a good way, I'm probably through that knot at this point. It's just really not wanting to finish off with me. Come on. That might actually be a more effective way of doing this. Yeah. Yeah, this is really not working too well. I might actually have to stop on this. It's just, this edge is not designed to do this at all. And it's just not going to work for me. Holy shit. Yeah, no, this is not, it's stuck. This is not a very safe way of doing this, unfortunately. Not that this is much better, but at least this way I have some control. Edge is still good, spine is still straight, but wow, this is, I'm going to give this a 2 out of 10. The reason why I'm going to give it a 2 is because it was comfortable. But this performance, like, I'm genuinely doing more work chopping like this, because at least it'll dig in as much as it can. Trying to split with it, it just shoulders so brutally because of that hollow grind, and then you can get nothing, absolutely nothing out of it. So that sucked. Let's do our next disappointment is going to be the swing blade. This knife is quite significantly small. This isn't going to work at all, but let's see. It's quite significantly smaller. Let's see if we can at least get in there enough to start splitting. The other thing that worries me about the swing blade is the fact that it does swing like this. Means that it doesn't really have much in the way of a tang for strength. So, but it is like immediately biting in there way better. Yeah, and just like that, right, I've got the whole blade in there. But it's not going to be long enough to go through most pieces of wood. So let's just hammer it in a little bit here. Yeah. Again, this is totally incapable of splitting any type of, like, these aren't big logs either. It's like 4 inches in diameter maybe. It's just not going to go through. Other thing of note is that these plastic handles are moving around quite a bit. like even without pressing the button, they've developed a dramatic wobble. I'm gonna go see actually if I can find something about half that size. You can see, same type of wood, it's just already been split. Let's see if the swing blade can handle this a little bit better. Yep, this feels gross. It's gonna fail. Ow. Yeah. It just failed on me. Okay. I'm gonna stop because this is getting dangerous. But this is another complete failure. This one is actually only gonna get a 1. It's not long enough to get through a reasonably sized piece of wood. And then to top it off, because it does have this swinging mechanism and fairly weak handles, you can't baton it without it trying to fail on you. And there's no real room for standoffs because it's hollowed through. It's completely unusable for this particular type of work, which isn't surprising, but I figured I'd give it a shot because it could be pretty fun. Up next, for another knife that I actually don't think has a hope in hell, the SOG Blade Light. The batteries in it? The batteries are mostly dead. Let's give this a go. Again, it does not really have a long enough blade for this. And again, it has a very weak handle. Bad choice. But despite being weak geometry, the full flat grind is helping it slice deep into the wood. So, again, if I was dealing with a very thin piece of wood, it might actually work a little bit better. And I am way too afraid to hit the handle of this because it is hollow polymer construction. But I can get just behind into this sort of choil section and I can hit this grip. And we're going to hope it doesn't snap. Yeah. No, that's not going to work at all. The handle developed a little bit of wobble. There's just not enough tang. In any knife that has a hollow section in the middle of it, there's not going to be enough tang in order for this to work at all. Functions as what it's supposed to be, but for an outdoors or hunting style knife, this is a poor choice. So, our SOG Blade Light is going to go back in its little sheath and off to the side. So, 3 for 3 on failures. Now we have 2 knives left. We have the Hella Knives Sigmund and the Halsforce 4-inch outdoors knife. Now, I don't have very high hopes for either of these, but let's start off with the Halsforce. Again, the blade isn't long enough for a lead to cut through this. I am going on an angle compared to the previous cuts, so they're not going to be assisting very much, but figured I should point that out. Sandy grind does give us pretty good geometry. But because the blade is so short, I am going to have to go back and forth on this. But it did slice right into that, unlike the other ones, which is nice, I guess. And the handle feels robust enough for me to not be uncomfortable striking it. Smacking on the back here is doing a little bit to damage the plastic, which I just find hilarious. But let's keep going. This is absolutely brutal. As a direct result of that, this probably is, well, I'll upload it when how bad this is because of the walls. It's getting stuck again, which is super fun. Okay, maybe, come on. Keep in mind, this one here was actually designed as an outdoors knife. All right, let's give it a shot on the half piece. Flip it over so I'm on a fresh side. At least this time it's actually long enough to theoretically work. Is that bent? Okay, it bent back to straight as soon as I pulled it out, but that bent in the wood, which is exactly what you want to see. Yeah, it's bending in the wood. It's actually hilarious. Which, I mean, points for toughness, clearly, but, oh. Yep, nope, that's not gonna work at all. Okay. And despite that, it has been back to true. So I guess I'm gonna give it a 2, similar to the Uncle Henry. I'm sure if you could find a piece of wood small enough, it would be able to do it. But good grief, it did bad. All right. Uplat, it's the Hellenized Sigmund, and I'm just gonna straight up start it on this piece of thin wood, of corded wood, because honestly, I don't think anything's gonna be able to make it through these full chunks. Let's give this a go. Yeah, no, immediately feels like it's having a hard time even getting a bite in here. Slice-ish. Thing's dull. I'm like putting it through 2 inches here. Like, this is not enough material to really give me a judgment, but it feels dull. Handle's comfortable. I really don't trust this wood to be able to survive smacks. Okay, so once you've got it moving through material, it actually doesn't feel too bad. It's blatantly too small to do any reasonably sized hunk of wood, but like, this is passable, I guess. Again though, like, I'm not really putting this through that much material, and it's handling it so poorly. I swear, if this one here bends, I'm gonna laugh and then cry because I kind of like this knife. It's bent. Let me actually bring this up and show you guys. It has fully just bent from me trying to baton with this thing. That is friggin' awful. Yeah. No. I mean, I get that, that's not going to come true again, I don't think. God damn it. It's a little bit better. So it took a little bit of bashing, but I did manage to get it back to just about straight. As you can see, it's not perfect, but it'll serve its purpose as a side knife for a little bit longer. Yeah, this is yikes. I'm a little bit surprised by how disappointed I was with the Hella Sigmund. That sucked. I'm gonna give this thing a 2. It was comfortable. It did bend, but it was cutting a little bit. Honestly, the rest of these are just... The Uncle Henry, I think, wins this. Purely by value of actually being big enough to maybe be able to do it. Despite how much flippin' energy that took. Yeah, I think if I were to do this again, I would need way more dried out pieces, but if you have a knife that you are supposed to be able to survive with, and baton with especially, for example, something with a Scandi grind, it needs to be capable of actually being able to baton on fresh wood. Now this is maple, so, or not maple, birchwood, so it's not like it's the softest wood in the world, but that's a lot of what's around here is maple and cedar. And you're not going to be felling a cedar tree, or even really being able to process a cedar tree with the knife that you carry on your hip, right? That's not something that you're going to be able to do. So, I guess we can sufficiently say that all of these knives really, really sucked, and your best bet is friggin' Uncle Henry knife, because at least you can somewhat chop with it. Yeah. I'm just gonna cut through this piece of wood for fun now, I guess, but stay safe, have fun out there,